I wish it had because there's a graphic novel, Batman Earth One. In it, it's like he's just starting out. He he's chasing a guy across the rooftop. Somehow this guy makes the jump between buildings. He's about to fire a grapple gun. The ball the reel explodes, chucks it down. He goes to run, makes the leap, and then like halfway through, he just drops like he's I don't know what, Sylvester the Cat, who could never make the jumps in comics.
Yeah.
All of a sudden he has a anvil tied around his neck. Down goes Batman.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll try not to too much, but to mention your conversation with our fellow affiliates, he really was in certain respects way too far along for only year two,
Mm.
and I don't like that. Like I don't need it like to break down in a comedy aspect,
Mm.
like him falling through between two buildings, because that takes me out of the realism, as we'll get to in a minute. Like if he
Mm.
just survives too much shit, then it's like you said in the other video, it's Beskar. There's no challenge to him. He'll be okay,
Yeah.
and that everything worked too well. Like give me a little gaff, give me the grapple gun just like not working, and then he has to stop his chase, or like he can't get over the dampers in the iceberg lounge when he's with Catwoman,
Mm.
something like that, just to show me that he's not too far along. But you know what they did, I'm sure you know because you saw the movie, what they did, which I do really like, which is a very stark difference between the other Batman we've gotten.
Mm.
He doesn't know how to disappear at the drop of a hat. I loved that Gordon is walking him in and out of crime scenes. I love that
Mm.
he really wasn't. I don't think he was getting out of the GCPD if Gordon didn't like take a moment to say, "Here's a key out this door to the." He wasn't like, "Yeah." He didn't stop him and say, "I already know. I have the
Right.
building blueprints memorized."
Right.
He was like, that was a cool moment, like stuff like that. That was cool.
Mm.
Uh, what do you want? I know you didn't want. You weren't too happy that he was so god level in his gear already, did you?
Yeah. So that's, as that reminder again, Anthony said it. I said it in the last one. We love the movie. To the tech points that you were talking about. Yes, I thought he was too far along into year two, to the extent that I thought this would be like a year, like 3 or 4, things were working too well. You talked about sticking the landing. Something that we both were talking about in the last recording was him escaping off GCPD, hitting the I-beam, and then walking away. I wanted more of those things. I think you wanted more of those things as well. But I think where we kind of differ, I think, and I know the other guys didn't agree with me as much. I was okay with that level of like comic booky, where it's like he eats that and he walks away. But I feel like a lot of you did not like that. Like you didn't want that scene at all, right? That level of abuse
Yeah,
you could take.
that took me out of it the same way in Dark Knight Rises, the magic knee brace took me
Right.
out of it,
Right.
and and the rope. As somebody who suffered back pain, no, don't you can't punch me in the back and hang me for a week and I'm fine. If that was the case, I would have been okay years ago, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't have spent as much money at my chiropractor. I love you,
Yeah.
Dr. Mike. Uh, but like I wouldn't have minded. So okay, so I even when I saw it, I was like, oh, they could have done this and it would have been better. He does, and by the way, that was cool because that whole thing, like it kept him grounded. We had talked about after we saw the trailer, like, oh, how is he? It's supposed to be grounded, but in the trailer we see him like leaping into the iceberg lounge, and we also see the scene where he jumps off a building and flies through the city.
Hmm.
I think they did a good job explaining that. Like, if I'm remembering properly, it wasn't exactly that he crashed through a skylight. He just jumped from one catwalk to a lower catwalk in the lounge. Okay, cool. Nothing too out of the way about that. And he has a wingsuit, so that's how he's going to do that jump. So he's not always going to be doing, he's not going to do the Christian Bale or the Michael Keaton all the time, because it seems like the law of physics exists in this world.
Hmm.
Up and until, and again, I'm not a physicist, I'm not a doctor, at the friggin' speed he's going, that was just a step too far to say he's going to complete. And because again, I only saw it one time, so I'm sorry if I'm wrong. If I'm remembering properly, he face plants into the I beam. That's where it took me out of it. If somehow he like full bodies it or something,
Mm,
even that would have been too much. But it's like his head is clearly the least armored part because
right.
he bangs his head and he's unconscious. That's how we get to that scene uh, from an explosion. I know. Uh, but if he had, so first of all, I think that scene should have ended where you see him like fly past the building. He
Mm,
zooms past the building, cut to the next scene, and I get it, and I'm happy that there's not too much. I don't want blatant humor. I don't think there's really any humor in this movie, which is okay too. But if you wanted to, the next scene is where like Gordon throws his cape. You know, they're at the bat signal. He's there. He just has his uniform on. He doesn't have a cape because he dropped it when
mm.
the wingsuit deployed. Gordon comes up. He's pissed. He's like, "Here, you dropped this, and I told you to pull your goddamn punch." And then he's just like, looking at him side eyed like he does the whole movie, fixing the cape. I did pull it, and Gordon's like, "Oh." I think that's where you cut it. Or if you have to show him sticking the landing, or that's the wrong phrase, isn't it? Sticking the landing
He
means
did
he
not
nailed
stick
it.
the light. Yeah.
Yeah, he did not stick the landing. If you got to show him botching the landing, have him aim for that bus, miss it, and then get chucked through the plate glass window. Maybe that would have been a bit more believable. But he he does what he does. He crashes. He looks like he's limping away, and then the next scene, he's fine. And they establish that it's from Halloween to November 6th is the movie. So he took a lot of damage, and you're asking me to believe that that suit is capable of deflecting 99.999% of it. So that to me was just one ask too many.
Yeah. And
So
I want them at some point to. We were talking about Gotham Knights in he had the suit that reflected bullets and he stopped using it because a bullet ricocheted and hit an innocent person. I want them to do something like that in this because I thought the suit was too overpowered. It was just, I was like, there's nothing he can't get through with this suit. And maybe it's always little things, right? It's little things that make it more human. So like maybe there's a scene where he's trying to do something and he can't, and he goes back to the cave and it's like, Alfred, suit's too heavy, gotta lose armor. Or he's trying to throw a punch and he realizes his arm stops here because of all the shoulder armor he has, and it blocks it. He blocks himself almost. People who are listening, I'm pretty much winging my right arm in the air. So I wanted some more of those kinds of things, and I'm hoping that as they go forward, he strips away parts of the armor to make him more vulnerable. Because I think that's something we like about Batman is that he does get hurt, he does bleed, all these things that I don't like about the Mandalorian. He just goes through everything. But going around again, that's to me one of the weakest parts is that in year 2 he's able to make a suit that's like fully bulletproof, fully explosion proof. Knives don't even cut through parts. Like I was like, he's too overpowered to be this early in his career. So I'm hoping in the next one there's more trial and error.
Well.
And he moves too well. Yeah.
Yeah.